Steve and Jill here.
Hi.
Welcome to the House Academy Show, entertaining real estate investment talk. I'm Stephen Jack Butala.
And I'm Jill DeWitt, broadcasting from sunny Southern California.
Today, Jill and I talk about the top 5 things the BOG, or the boots on the ground, does before we acquire an SFR or a house, specifically for immediate resale.
Exactly. Let's explain real quick what the BOG is and the value of a BOG.
Go ahead, Jill.
The BOG, boots on the ground, are the people who live in the city and help us when we're acquiring SFRs, something of that nature, and we're not there. So we're sending out offers in, cities 3 states over, but we have a group of people, a couple usually, that's the best. We call them our boots on the ground, and they're the ones that do some of the tasks that we need done not being in that city, like meet with the seller, arrange the inspection, turn on and off, utilities if we need them, things like that. So that's what boots on the ground is, and we'll talk more about.
In a perfect situation, well, they should have way more information than you do about the local area, and they should generally just be your super helper.
Right.
If you're sitting in Phoenix, Arizona, and you're buying properties in Indianapolis, Indiana, there's a lot of mistakes you can make. You need the people on your team to really say, hey, I know this works on paper, but when you walk through it, it doesn't work. That's really what we're here to talk about. But before we get into it, let's take a question posted by one of our members on the online community. It's free, the House Academy online community.
Chris says, hello, everybody. Just a quick question. Paperwork is quickly getting out of hand.
You like this? I handpicked that question.
Oh my, that's funny.
I knew you love it.
Oh my God, Chris.
In our business.
Oh my gosh.
If you're not in the business,
I feel your pain.
If you are in this business, you're laughing right now. I hope you're in your car, wherever you are, laughing.
Oh, and
there's so much paperwork.
Single transaction is
in
different.
This business, it's cuckoo.
Oh my goodness. Especially if there's an agent involved. I mean, they'll just start making up forms. I'm like, where did this come from? I don't know. I found it. It was used in 1978 in this county. Here you go. Really? I don't know what that. Do they just have to feel like they're important and justify their 3% by coming up with forms that they think that we might need?
I have a funny story real quick.
Goodness.
In Arizona, you have to fill out, as a seller of a house, if there's a real estate agent involved, this thing called a SPUDS report. And it's a disclosure. You have to disclose everything about it. And it says questions like, does this house leak? Does the roof leak? And if yes, please explain. If it's unknown, you just check unknown. And if it's no, you check no. So everybody on the planet just says, I don't know, and you sign your name. One time,
oh no,
I got sick of this. So I filled out the SPUDS report like a smart aleck.
What is this? Pool doesn't work. Good luck.
Does your home have lead-based paint? And if so,
would you say, God, I hope not.
Have you done anything about it? So I wrote a paragraph about how I used my children to lick
and test.
And test to peel off the paint in each room, chip a thing off, and put it in their mouth and see what happens. And every single question I answered like that and turned it back into the agent.
Horrible.
And they were just horrified. See, you know how real estate agents are. They're horrified. They're just they don't see the humor in it.
That's pretty funny.
What are you trying to do? Kill your own deal? This was a deal. This is a lot before Jill. A lot of years ago, and it was a primary residence. People were clamoring to buy this property. It was like a bidding situation.
That's great.
Anyway, paperwork gets out of control. Go ahead, Jill.
Yeah, we could talk for days on this one. Okay, sorry, Chris. Back to your question. Since we mostly close through title, there's a lot of thick bundles of paper stacking up on my desk. For parcels that I've already sold, I'm thinking of scanning the papers and shredding everything.
Ding, ding. That's what we do.
Now I'm liking the way the question's going. Why keep it? But then I wonder if there's some unknown reason I need to keep physical original copies of paperwork for land I sold. What do you do? Well, let me run this by you. When you bought the property, did you need to have, or the title company need to have, original wet signatures on anything?
Wet signatures?
Well, isn't that what it's called?
I don't know.
It's called a wet signature.
First time I've ever heard it.
Oh, yeah. You want to talk about
Gets me thinking.
I'm sure it does. It's a wet.
Is wet signature a thing?
Yeah. That's original. You can tell there's ink on paper, not like a stamp or copy or scanned.
You didn't
printed
just
out.
make that up. Huh?
No, it's a thing.
Wow. I've done 16,000 deals. I've never heard that term.
Yes.
And you of all people.
Thank you. Are you surprised I know that one?
No.
Okay.
I'm surprised you haven't shared it in a different environment.
The point is you didn't need those original signatures, nor did the title company to acquire the transaction. So when you go to sell it, you're just fine. And that's what we do. You don't want stacks of paperwork around. You want to scan them, like you said, shred them, keep them somewhere really safe. I'm not sure Google Drive is the best, only source.
No.
Like I would back them
Back
up
it up
somewhere
into
else.
local back it up 3 places.
Right.
We use AWS, Amazon AWS to back up the S3 version. We use local hard drives that you can buy on Amazon. And then we also use some cloud kind of like Microsoft 365 and actually Google Drive, now that I'm thinking about it, 4 places. Every new office we have, I go in and I take all the filing cabinets out, every single one.
It's true.
And I take all the waste baskets out. There's no waste baskets under the desk. There's just one in the kitchen and that's it.
It's kind of funny. That's totally true.
I've been doing that since the 90s. And back in the 90s, it was, I was seen as just this freak, a freaky weirdo. And we have a main shredder and we have a main, we spent thousands of dollars on our scanners.
Yeah.
There's no paper anywhere, not even deeds. I don't even keep original deeds. The book and page stamp now, it used to be a sticker. Now it's like kind of a thing. We shred it immediately, scan it and shred it.
Well, it's a good point too. Online recording, you don't have to have the original signature.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The wet signature.
Good question. This is a great question though, and I'm glad that you asked that, Chris, because
Today's
it
topic?
can get out of hand.
Today's topic, the top 5 things the BOG does before we acquire an SFR. This is why you're listening. I know you made a list.
Okay.
This roll. I'm sorry, that was I just teased you.
You did.
This BOG roll.
Jill, go ahead and talk. But before you do.
I know. I'm sorry. That's not a cool co-host thing to do. This role, this BOG role, my first choice is if you're new at this, you are the BOG because then you can actually teach somebody else how to do it. But it's an imperative that you get eyes on the asset. Completely diametrically opposite with land. With land, I highly recommend you don't even go see it at all. It's very inefficient. And there's really successful members in our group that disagree with me, and they go to see every asset. But with houses, it's just tiniest little thing can say, you know what, we're not going to buy this house.
Right, you might be walking up the driveway and notice cracks in the foundation. That's important, and
Yeah.
you wouldn't if you're 3 states over, and you just get pictures back. You don't know about that.
The SFR deals that we do involve an equity partner, us. We sourced the transaction and vetted it and made sure it works on paper and that there's that market's good, and we sent the mailer out and the whole thing. We do all that, and then the BOG. Go ahead, Jill.
Okay, here's what they do. I would explain the value of the BOG, where they fit into the puzzle, what the heck do they really do, and what are the top 5 things we ask of them. Number 1, get the signed purchase agreement with our agreed upon offer price. If we don't have that, nothing else matters. Why would you want to spend days, even hours, pursuing an acquisition, walking the property, thinking about inspection, thinking about how you're going to market it until you even know you have a deal?
This is very, very, very important. Of the 5, this is the one that gets me. And for whatever reason, it's very natural for some people to not talk about the price. It cracks me up. Politicians are like this. They're all lawyers. So they don't talk about it ever, how much stuff costs. That's some other department. And so, for me, everything is all about how much it costs. So the first thing you should say on a phone, this is land or houses, is, we sent you an offer. Does that price work? And they'll tell you. In fact, they'll have a lot to say about it. Most
You
of
just
the
made
time.
me think of something totally funny, and I totally want to do this. Anytime, we just had to do a legal thing. We had to redo some of our paperwork behind the scenes with some of our companies, and it makes me want to go. And we had to get attorneys involved. Want to do it right. We are not attorneys, and it's so funny because I wish I would have said, "Hey, before we talk, how much is this phone call going to cost me?" Could you imagine? Like if I did that every time,
It's
that would
funny
be
you bring
hilarious.
that up because Jill and I went to a punk rock show last night.
Yes.
And for whatever reason, I was standing next to the little aisleway where you order drinks from the bartender. So I could hear people would just walk up and say certain stuff to the bartender. And so all night I could hear these conversations. And I was noticing after a while, about half the people, and it was a very specific person type, would say, "How much is X?" And the bartender would say $3, $4, $5. And it was always a young woman. And she would say, "Great, I'll take 2 or 3 or 1 or whatever."
Interesting.
But not a single guy asked what the price was.
They just ordered
But
the
I
drink.
did hear this 2 times. "I just paid $35 for 4 beers." You know? That's exactly what they
After
sounded
the
like
fact,
too. Yeah.
as they're mumbling, walking away.
Yep.
That
So what does that say about
That's
gender?
interesting.
Like women want to know what they're getting into before they get into it. And men are just like mopping stuff up, stupid decisions that they make up their whole life after it's done. After the damage is done and everything's broken and everyone's bankrupt.
is so true. You talk about an excellent observation. You are right. Is he marriage material? Can he hold a job? Is he going to be a good father to my children? Is he good in bed? Does he take care of me? Versus a man that just says, "Oh, I got to get in there and get a piece of that." And then later on, they're going, "Boy, was that a mistake. I just paid $350,000 to undo that mess."
Is $350,000 a real number that you've experienced?
So that's probably the national average.
Oh my gosh. What is this show even about?
I don't know.
Oh, anyway. The first thing you should ask when you get the seller on the phone is,
Making me
does
cry.
does the price work? So we've had BOG in the past where they come from a very corporate background and the price doesn't matter. So they'll get halfway through the deal and the seller loves it too because they're like, "They didn't even ask me the price. Of course I want it.
So I'm going to jack it up at the
It's
end.
going to be like $200,000 more than they offered." So price is imperative and just get it out of the way.
Don't waste your time.
Jill's really good at this. Like this is the first thing she says. Jill and I are sharing an office right now for the first time in a really long time because we're making some internal changes on how we buy and sell property. We're actually growing, and then we need a physical presence in our office is needed. And so we're growing at a pretty rapid pace, getting set up for 2020. And I'm listening to you talk to sellers for the first time in a long time. Talk to sellers and talk to members and stuff. And it's very clear to me why we're successful because it was a mystery to me before.
I don't know how she does it, but here we are. That's great.
Get the price out of the way.
Exactly. Number 2, they visit and they walk the property and they take some pictures just so we can get some confirmation of what we think is going on inside. It's not necessarily a deal breaker, but again, if you're like we are, you're a couple states over, you want to make sure the place isn't trash. There's not a hole in the roof. It's still standing. There wasn't a big fire in the garage a week ago. That kind of a thing. And if even someone's living there, that tells me something too. Because we've done both. We bought properties where they've been vacant for years, like 10 years. And I'm thinking, can anybody, inhabit this place? And we know the utilities aren't going to work. The appliances, I should say, are not going to work. Versus we've bought places that they've been lovingly lived in. And the only thing that doesn't work is a ceiling fan in the back room.
So you really want to, that's a true story on a deal.
I know.
If the BOG is a former real estate agent or even a current real estate agent, they're going to approach this thing like they're getting a fee. and they're trying to get a deal done, you got to be really careful of that. They're your partner. The way we structure it, they're technically, literally, our business partner in the deal. So you have to encourage them to find stuff wrong to kill the deal. So there's some real estate agents that have spent a career masking issues that are in a potential real estate deal just to get a fee. So just be careful of that.
Thank you.
All the successful BOGs we've ever had are couples.
To take that to the end, they don't get paid until we sell the asset. They don't get paid on the buy part of it. They get paid when we sell it. And that also helps them look at it differently, because the more money I make on the deal, the more they make on the deal. Third thing is we have a chat with them and get their personal opinions. Third thing that a BOG does for us, we want to know, would they live there?
I mean, they drive the neighborhood. So there's sometimes it just ends right there. We got it several times, actually. Recently, we get a signed purchase agreement back, very quickly, in the seller and Jill or her staff, they said, wow, this is, works great. Square price for square footage is great. Google Earth shots are great. Everything from my desk is awesome. And then they get in there and say, wow, this part of XYZ city is just, it's a mess. There's stuff going on across the street. God knows what's going on there. So while the numbers all work and the from a computer works great, you don't want any part of this. So you want their personal opinion. You want them to say, wow, I would really live there. We have a set of BOG that they're really good about that.
They are.
We've killed deals more than them. And here's an example. We bought a property and successfully resold it, and their family had another vacation property. So they went all the way out there. It was never a market that I identified as $7 million for houses. It was too vacation-y. So the turnover time and the days on market, and those numbers just don't work for how we did it. They went to this vacation property, all emotional, and they're like, you know what, we'll buy this. If you guys don't buy it, we'll buy it, because that's how great we feel about the market, and we're looking for a second home anyway. And they did. And so because the people we just said, you know what, you guys get the great price and do the deal and just keep us out of it.
We wish you all the best.
Yeah.
And that ties into number 4. We ask them to identify the flaws. We all need to know and make sure that they're solvable.
Every single real estate deal, land, houses, skyscrapers, parking lots, has a potential fatal flaw. I don't care. And the further you get into your career, you're going to realize this. In the beginning of my career, I would shove those flaws down into some place and,
lock them up, pretend they don't exist.
Like Ghostbusters did, where they put all those ghosts in that thing until it broke and then it blew up.
Correct.
Early on in my career, I didn't want to deal with that. The older I get, the more I'm like, I know there's a flaw in here somewhere. I'm going to smoke it out and I'm going to kill this deal. That's how I go into every single deal. Jill found yesterday is doing a deal funding deal on the land side that I think is the closest thing that I've ever seen to a perfect real estate deal. It's an infill lot surrounded by $300,000-$400,000 houses in a fantastic, in an A census tract neighborhood, and they're moving. And I'm like, well, I'm sure that this is not buildable. So what does she say? We're getting an info report. It's gonna pass with flying colors, because we're gonna buy this thing for like 10,000, and we'll probably sell it for 100. Mm-hmm. And so, we're a good team, actually.
We are. It's so funny because you're sitting there going, there's a problem. I'm like, well, see those little things on the street right there in front of it? Those are for utilities are right there.
In front of the lot.
Jeez, it's really great. I mean, I don't remember I've had an info lot this ready to go in this great of an area in a long time.
Recent comparison values in an eighth of a mile away that are like $100,000.
I'm really looking at this going, I'm scratching my head going, wow.
Yeah.
And this is one of the things that we do is deal funding. We do for land and we do for houses too. And I'm just blown away by this one. It's really good.
So you got to find a flaw.
Right. Make sure they're solvable.
Yeah. Solve the flaw. Exactly,
That's
Joe.
It. And then the very last thing that the boots on the ground do for us is they order and take care and send to us an inspection. We do that on all the houses that we buy. I just really need to know for sure. And it takes a lot of the mystery out. It's a couple $100. I think it's money well spent. It's usually about $300 for what we're doing for a full inspection and termite inspection. And then I really know what I'm getting into. And it's also a valuable tool when I go to sell the property. I put that in my emails that I'm sending out to my buyers list. So if the work is done for them, they can look at it and see the inspection and make a decision usually within hours.
This is where the couple thing comes in because, typically the guy will show up in the BOG part of the couple will show up at the inspection.
Right. And walk it with them.
Yeah. And try to find some problems with it. So it's a huge service. It's worth every penny on the BOG that we spend.
I think it's super important because the more you walk around with someone like that, you're going to learn. And so the next property that you're walking for yourself, getting the pictures, you know what to look at.
Yeah.
You know, the last time I opened up an electrical box and looked like that, the guy pointed out these problems. Now I can spot them for myself.
Yep.
Did we cover everything to your satisfaction?
Yeah, we're way over time.
Oh, I am so darn sorry.
We're laughing.
I know. Happy you could join us today. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you can find us on the Land Academy Show. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're right here on the House Academy Show. Tomorrow's episode on the Land Academy Show is our exit poll results. Jill's going to share some love notes that she got from some members. I'm talking about myself like I'm in third person because I'm taking over your part.
Because I missed my line.
That's okay.
Here's my line. You are not alone in your real estate ambition.
That's funny. I've got some good things. I have to pull them up for tomorrow's show. It'll be good to read. Yeah. The House Academy Show remains commercial free for you, our loyal listener. So wherever you're watching or wherever you're listening, please subscribe and rate us there. We are Steve and Jill.
Information
and inspiration
to buy undervalued property.